Alright, man, you guys absolutely enjoyed the last Imperium top 10 worst jobs. We got part 2 today. This was like an hour long, so if I need to talk or whatever, I'm gonna try to like talk over it, or I'm gonna just like pause the audio while the guy's talking, because yeah, this is an hour long. Okay, let's get right into it. Hour long, people. Make sure you guys get your snacks. All you got bars. I'm guessing that's like his sponsor or something like that. Here we go, y'all. Make sure you guys get your snacks, your everything. Is it better that the masses do not know the truth behind what they consume, for many of understanding overwhelmed by the necessity of our great work? Okay. Worst Imperial jobs. Here we go. Let's relax a little bit. I'm gonna relax a little bit. Feels like I'm watching a
Within
movie.
the bowels of the Imperium, the souls that lie down in the filth, decay and horror, it's difficult for those poor wretches to consider themselves within the vision and the light of the Emperor of Man. For as gloriously as the Imperium presents itself in the depths of the human spirit and the lowest levels of its vast hive cities, languish those in eternal despair, never to know anything other than a life of hardship, toil and suffering, the rotten core of humanity's galactic empire. This is why it remains its own worst enemy, for here is where you'll find the most acute fracture points for discontent and those with nothing left to live for other than turn their souls over to the darkest whisperings that bleed into our reality from the realm behind our own. It's worth remembering also that for those who live in the Imperium, the phrase jobs is relatively inaccurate. Most people's assignments are not what we might consider jobs, they are more worker assignments.
Sleeves. I said it yesterday and I'll say it again. Sleeves. This isn't a job. This isn't a thing that you clock in and clock out of. No. Your sleeves. This is your assignment. This is you are a worker. This isn't a job. This isn't something you can quit. I said this yesterday. He broke it down again today. And like I said again, I'm not going to pause like that, but I just had to clarify that. Your sleeves in this Imperial world.
This, though, is of course dependent on the world you find yourself upon. For there are those within realms such as Ultramar where degrees of independence are far more commonplace. Another aspect I've spoken to before is that within the Imperium there is no standardized currency system in the sense of a currency used by all, including ordinary citizenry anyway. And to do so would be challenging, if not near impossible, given the distance, scale and instability of the Imperium as a whole. While many hive worlds, for example, use ambiguously titled credits, individual systems may have their own localized currencies, and other feudal planets can even operate on a more basic barter system, supplemented with very rudimentary coinage. There exists a unit of value known as the throne gelt, which is as close to being universal.
Bro, they're giving us freaking GameStop points as money, bro. They're giving us GameStop points as money. This isn't even funny at this point, bro. You know how bad I'll crash out if I did like a 20-hour work shift, bro, and I look on like my credit card or whatever, like, cause like, bro, it's Friday, right? So I'm thinking, okay, I'm about to get paid or whatever. I look on my credit card, bro, and I got what, $300, $400 in store credit. I got $300 and $400 in work credit. So I can only use this. It's not funny. I'm sorry that I just did that, but it's not funny, right? Because I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. Imagine working all that time, bro, and like, bro, the money, the money system is not even like legal. Like, bro, they're legit scamming you, bro. You're working for free. You're slaves to them, bro. Oh my goodness.
Exists. This is often exclusively used by traders, rogue traders, inquisitors, and other Imperial officials who travel between systems and sectors of the galaxy.
Sorry for
However you
pausing
end
it.
up being compensated for your services, though, it's most unlikely that you, as an ordinary pleb citizen, would have a literal choice in the direction of your life. Upon most worlds, there is little, if any, education beyond the basic laws to follow and how to operate machinery. Most people live with passed down knowledge on how to survive as a human in the most basic sense. and those humans in the eyes of the Imperium are merely flesh matter. They are unimportant dust motes in the grand scale of the Imperium, and you are as much a raw material asset to the Imperium as much as is ore, ammunition, or other consumables.
He's basically saying that those humans are legit nothing. I'm sorry that I paused it like 3-4 times. He's saying that they are legit nothing. They're worthless. If you were to die tomorrow, it's GG's. And I'm not talking about you guys, obviously. I'm talking about what he's saying, basically in the Imperium world. That's messed up.
So now let us continue to explore the true horror of 40k, for it is not the glory and service of the Astartes, it is the mind-numbing drudgery, the lack of hope, the acceptance of banality that is the true horror for humans in the nightmare that is the 41st millennium. Many welcome death when it comes, and others mutter about the madness of their own. The Imperium directs its rage and fury outwardly to the Xenos and the Heretic, but it is much to blame for the extreme levels of suffering inflicted upon the many trillions of ordinary citizens across the entire galaxy, as much as those who would seek to see it permanently obliterated. If you yourself were here, how would you serve? What role would you see yourself in? If you have a worse 40k job in mind, as always, throw it in the comments, and maybe I'll include it in a part 3.
Alright, okay. I'll be honest with you. If I was in the Imperium world, what assignment would I do? I'll be honest with you, like out of all the assignments that we heard about yesterday, bro, I gotta pick out the assignment, the one that I can be unalive from the fastest. Cause I can't live on this. So I'll probably pick the one thing to where they refuel like the ships or whatever, and they instantly just get like, you know, they just get like just wiped out. I'll probably pick either that one, cause I'm not working at that Amazon like job for like 20 hours. You got me sick. And so, yo, Amazon, I love you. That's just a joke. I listen, yo Jeff Bezos. I do not want the black trucks outside my house. Okay, please, that was a joke. Don't, you know, I was playing, bro. Please. But it'll probably be like the refueler or whatever. Yeah, it'll probably be that one.
This series. So then, the horror.
Here we go. Tech
In the
thralls.
darkness of the 41st millennium, humanity has fallen into a true abyss of moral and ethical darkness. Human lives are bizarrely fought for ferociously in terms of the preservation of the collective empire that is the Emperor's Imperium, yet individual lives are treated as little more than a material commodity. Conversion to servitors, archo-flagellants and the like, thinking, feeling human beings stripped of both their humanity and their minds turned to mush with regularity.
Wow.
The Imperium also uses techniques like mind wiping of problematic or troublemaking individuals. Those
We heard about the mind wiping thing in the last video, y'all. If you guys didn't hear, first of all, if you guys actually didn't watch the last video, or sorry, the first part of this, you guys will check it out. I'll probably put like those little like video reminders, whatever, at the top of the video, if I remember to do so. I think I'm gonna type it down. I'm gonna remember to do so at 4:39. I've been talking a little bit, so probably like at 6-7 minutes. I'll probably put one at the top. If there's not one at the top, that means I couldn't find it, and that's my bad.
they consider compromised or even just a risk factor. Mind wipes are usually achieved through a flood of neurochemicals being injected to the base of the cranium, steadily erasing personal memories and identity like a cold, clouded fog drifting through the mind of an individual. This is not isolated in use for conversion of humans to servitor slaves. It also can be used for Astartes, especially those in the Grey Knights, where mind wiping is standard practice to protect them from themselves while facing demons that might twist and distort
what? I did not know that.
loved ones to become weapons against an individual. Mind wipes, though, are not always the default practice for control of humans in low-status service. Many, in fact, exist in a state of servitude, but are only subjected to damaging processes like mind wipes should it be strictly necessary. And this can sometimes occur for those who live in service to the Mechanicus. They are known as the tech thralls. Thralls, however, are not like servitors. They are still classified as human, at least in terms of their minds anyway. They retain thoughts of their hopes and dreams, they hold on to fears and express desires. Some tech thralls burn brighter than others in their feelings, but most are depressingly broken individuals, worn down to shells of human being through the endless drudgery of their existence. Brutality, tough shifts of menial labor, most would gladly welcome death when it finally comes.
I told you, bro. Listen, if I was bro, sign me up as a refueler right now, bro. Get me out, bro. I'd rather go out doing this one job and just get eviscerated, bro. I'm not lying to you, bro. I would never, Man, this world is, man, that world, bro, the Imperium, whatever, bro, that world is just too depressing, bro.
They may be known as ad secularis, the tech thralls. They exist primarily as the servant class of the Adeptus Mechanicus, cybernetically adapted humans who retain some semblance of humanity. They sit just above servitors in ranking, but far below all others. They are adapted by the Mechanicus to ensure they remain both obedient and efficient, and while their humanity is left more intact than that of a servitor's conversion, where servitors are effectively brain dead and merely motorized flesh matter, it's entirely debatable as to whether this is in fact a more humane fate than that of the adaptation and subsequent assignments which mean becoming a tech thrall.
Bro, like, every one of these jobs, bro, it's like walking robots. They basically got these human robots, basically, because obviously, like, these guys are humans or whatever. It's just, bro, they using all these type of, like, mind wiping tricks and stuff like it, bro. It's just like, oh my goodness, bro. You can only see something like this in a movie, bro. Like, bro. Oh man, bro. I feel so bad. All you can do is feel bad, bro, because again, these aren't jobs, bro. Like, this is slavery, bro. This is like, you know. Like, this is like, you know, like this is your like assignment, bro. If you don't do this, bro, it's GG's. It's over for you, bro. They're taking your Jordans, bro. It's over. So
where your life is all but consigned to oblivion, yet left within your shell are the last threads of your humanity, screaming from the inside out.
That's scary, bro.
However,
that's so scary.
A necessary adaptation.
That's so scary.
Any subject is suitable, although often they select the most disposable individuals, troublemakers, deserters, prisoners, condemned criminals, and the like. Although it should be noted that those selected for the role of a tech thrall may equally hail from just ordinary citizenry when needs must.
I was about to say, if they're gonna send anybody to do like these little dirty jobs or whatever, or like these dirty mind wiping whatever, they should send like the prisoners and like all the evil people. But he just said that they just send like some ordinary citizens who pay taxes. So that's crazy.
Humans selected for conversion will be augmented with basic cybernetics. Commonly, this involves
I'm gonna try not to pause the video too much, y'all. My bad.
Exoskeletal
Sorry about that.
reinforcement to enable workers to then carry heavy loads and operate large-scale machinery and other industrial tasks. They also may be subjected to relatively low-tech optical and other interface adaptation. Lastly, there may be some cranial surgery where some mind erasure can take place for the most troublesome or offensive individuals.
Of course.
The thrall class of human will obey any order given by the Mechanicus or other Imperial authority. They are in effect drones, but while much of their humanity is stripped away, they do still attempt to retain something or some semblance of a society within themselves, or as much as it can be classified as such. It may seem that to a degree they are not far away from the levels of subjugation inflicted upon ordinary citizens of the Imperium, but thralls exist in fact barely above servitors. They just have the unfortunate terminal torture of being very aware of it. Thralls were originally created by the Mechanicum out of necessity, and this development occurred during the period of Imperial expansion known as the Great Crusade, culminating in the Horus Heresy. It's unclear as to why, but for whatever reason, there became an intense need for something slightly above servitors, which used formerly human biological matter, and after effectively lobotomization of a subject, servitors became a bio-cybernetic component system. Thralls are more akin to straight cyborgs. Their consciousness...
Real quick. Yo, what's with like this kink or this fetish of like connecting a human to like the robots and all? Like, bro, what's like, bro, man, what type of freakazoid is coming up with these ideas? I could never. That's never came into my brain. What type of freakazoid is coming up with these ideas? We connecting the human to the robot. We making some type of hybrid, and you know, like the human part knows why they're there. They remember the operation, but the robot part controls the emotions. Like it's shit, bro. It's too much, bro. It's too much, bro. Throw that whole Imperium world, bro. Ship that thing to a one-way ticket to hell.
Memory are generally not extinguished before being processed into their new form. The conversion process to tech thralls is a fate for many of a Forge World's population should they prove substandard in their duties or commit some other transgression against members of the Mechanicus. And the Mechanicus hate wasting things. Why simply dispose of a troublesome human when they can serve the almighty cog until death? Upon Mechanicus Forge Worlds, tech thralls form a massive part of the expendable labour force, and this is standard across the Imperium. There will of course still be large components of standard humans, but thralls are commonplace. If thralls are to be used for military purposes by the Mechanicus, this is when they are designated as the ad secularis, and this is of course a role that they are well suited for. After being outfitted with basic weapons systems and bodily protection, they will march to war as basically humanoid fodder. They are an unrelenting force of mentally alive soldiers, yet with no will of their own, puppeted by Mechanicus techs. It's not entirely dissimilar to some other machinery used by the tech priests, who are seemingly more skilled with wetware than they are the artificial systems of intelligence, perhaps for obvious reasons, being that the latter is strictly outlawed. Tech thralls will advance into the most ferocious enemy onslaughts without apparent fear, and are formed into so-called covenants. Their primary weapon is, like so much in the Imperium, weight of numbers, sending wave after wave of their own men at the enemy and making any foe seem, quite simply, a trifle. Thralls are, unfortunately for them, just as susceptible to injury as any guardsmen, except they have the additional misery of being very dulled externally in response to their injuries. Internally, it's likely a sliding scale of just how much or how little individual thralls actually feel. For some, it's perhaps akin to being a servant of the plague god, whereby any injury barely registers in terms of pain. For other thralls who perhaps still burn bright in the mind but lack will of their own, it's going to be comparable to awakening during surgery but remaining trapped in an unresponsive body.
Oh my goodness gracious. Boy. Bro, I forgot what that's called, but I know what he's talking about. So basically, you guys know, like, whenever, because like I'm pretty sure like a lot of us had like surgery before, whether we like, you know, play a sport and we injured ourselves and we had to get surgery or whatever your case is, right? Man, I'm so glad that I heard about this after I had surgery, you know, growing up as a kid. Man, bro, I think this lady told me that so what they do is, right, if you guys ever been to surgery, what they do is, right, they give you anesthesia, so obviously so you can sleep out, so you can knock out. They give you anesthesia, you breathe in the anesthesia, you know, you knock out, you sleep or whatever, you don't even feel it. Then she said, but there have been cases where the person would wake up in the middle of the surgery, but the doctors won't notice. You woke up in the middle of the surgery and you can try to talk, you can try to scream or whatever, but in reality, your body is so cooked off of the anesthesia that like it looks like, you know, that it's like that you're asleep off the anesthesia, but in reality, bro, you're wide awake. You're screaming, you're da-da-da-da-da-da. And, bro, they're still, like, you know, drilling away. They're still, like, cutting here, cutting there. Like, bro, I've heard of, like, stories of people, like, going through that, bro. Bro, that is tough. That is tough. And I don't mean the cool tough. I mean, bro, that is unfortunate, bro. Oh, my goodness. Bro, I pray, bro. This is why, listen. Obviously, I pray that I don't have to get surgery or whatever, man. But listen, if you guys get surgery, bro, you better ask the doctor, yo, man, give me a double dose of anesthesia, bro. Make sure I don't wake up. Make sure that I don't wake up, bro. Bro, knock me out like you're Floyd Mayweather. Make sure that I do not wait, bro. I don't care if I gotta sleep for an extra hour after you're done with the surgery. Bro, give me a double dose. Woo!
All of this, of course, irrelevant to the machine god. Flesh will be torn away, but knowledge must remain eternal. All of this, though, is not actually why tech thralls feature in this second.
By the way, y'all, I'm over here playing 2K while I'm watching this.
The reasoning for their inclusion is that no matter their service record, longevity, or otherwise general usefulness, the ultimate fate of any tech thrall or ad secularis is to be recycled into servitor components. Their augmatic
like their
implants
cars
will
or
be
something.
harvested
That's crazy.
For continued use. There is no hope for them other than remaining a defective, inferior being in the eyes of the Mechanicus and general humanity. They exist as the condemned and the despised.
I gotta stop pausing though, because
when it comes,
I'm making the video longer.
Enter the realm beyond. Now also allow me to immediately contradict myself, for there is one other notable class of ad secularis, but it is a very minimal class, generally speaking. These are the Titan ad secularis. Can you guess to which role they're assigned? It's
No.
Titans. Different
Oh.
legios can refer to the tech thralls under them with other terms than ad secularis, and will even sometimes dress them with clean tabards and other simple cloth to give them a level of dignity, not for themselves obviously, but to not offend the sanctity of the machine and its spirit. This is perhaps one of the exceptions to the rule, as thralls who serve within a Titan may sometimes be gifted minimal benefits by its tech priests, augmetics and so forth. Mostly these so-called gifts can be interpreted more for the Mechanicus wanting to increase efficiency aboard a Titan than give anything to a thrall, but still for the thrall it's equally beneficial. It is perhaps the single ray of hope for a thrall to serve aboard a god machine of the Mechanicus, and in doing so achieve a sliver of dignity and appreciation for their service. For the remaining unwashed masses, it's a lifetime of otherwise condemned misery.
Oh, man. Chapter
Now,
Serf.
the selection of Chapter Serf as a worst job will undoubtedly be a contentious selection, because it honestly is somewhat subjective. In many ways, serving as a serf for the Astartes can only be seen as the highest honour, and any service to the Imperium and the Emperor is a glorious duty and one to be held with immense pride. Not to mention the fact that serfs are generally well treated, in relatively safe environments, also educated above ordinary humans who live miserable trudging lives in hive cities around pollution, disease, crime, and most often abominable conditions. Serfs, on the other hand, will live within chapter monasteries of Astartes, surrounded by glorious sculptures, artisan works, and of course on a daily basis serve firsthand those who are the descendants of the Emperor himself, in a manner of speaking, give me a break. So, why would serfs be included? Like I said, it depends on your point of view, so hear me out. And it's also a very literal sliding scale. There are many examples of ordinary humans serving the Astartes who would rise to hold ranks such as housecarl or equerry. At the other end of the scale, there are those who will live lives which again I feel can be torturous. Serfs are very often failed space marines, who for one reason or another did not meet the grade when it came to the progression of becoming a space marine. Now they have to live lives away from their homeworld, their family, and they may live in shame and humiliation every single day.
What? Are you serious? Oh, man. So they can't even go back home? I stopped listening to things you say because they don't mean them anyway. Are you serious? I can't go back home because I didn't become a space marine?
The fact that their son never became an Astartes, or perhaps they live in mistaken delusion, believing still a slim chance that they were in fact converted to an Astartes. A serf's life, though, can be wide-ranging. Some will be abused on a near-daily basis by Astartes masters who look down upon them and remind them of their own humanity, something they hate. They will throw continual demeaning shame toward them at every opportunity. Some Astartes chapters, and especially those who would fall into darkness during the Heresy, like the Death Guard, would punish serfs with brutal physical penalties for minor errors in service.
For what? For what? What you punishing them for? For what?
Unsurprisingly, the Iron Warriors as well. But for many serfs, the daily existence of being permanently reminded of their failures, yet simultaneously knowing they must continue.
I gotta stop pausing the video,
Emperor,
bro. I gotta
is
stop.
Something of a bizarre
I gotta stop,
torture.
bro.
Yes, they are rewarded by the mere ability and glory of serving the Astartes, but the continual personal humiliation of knowing they just lost out, or they didn't make the cut, never ceases to burn inside. Some serfs, though, will make actual close friendships and bonds with the more reasonable and forward-thinking Astartes chapters. For those, though, that lean toward the edge of acceptable practices, existence as a serf can be a daily trial for survival, punctuated with broken limbs and other intolerable punishments.
What?
Like so many things, it's subjective and relative.
Oh,
all
nah.
humans position their
I'm
outlook
good, bro.
from their own place relative to
I'm
others.
good.
And while it's easy to say, well, look at that poor sap cleaning the drains from a toxic spill in a hive basement, sure, a serf has it better comparably. For a serf, though, such thoughts will be a cold comfort, while their Astartes master is belittling them for the 1000th time, being made to endure some long-lasting physical trial to prove their continued worth and any other daily misery that they may have to endure.
You've already denied them. What do you mean prove their daily worth? You send them home. Send them home. Is it that hard? Send them home. You just want somebody to play with. Freakazoid. Like, bro, this is why nobody like the Astartes. Y'all are freaks. Look at you. Bullying somebody.
For serfs who find themselves in that position, suddenly the life of an
I gotta stop
agricultural
pausing, man.
worker
I'm making a
might
video too
seem
long,
quite
yo.
appealing. Is a chapter serf a worse job? Possibly. But it's really the luck of the draw. For the lucky ones, it's a life of honoured service and a glowing pride deep inside that they held an opportunity to continue to serve the Emperor despite their own shortcomings. For other serfs, though, it's a lifetime of personal reminders that when it came to it, they fell short. And this is then permanently reinforced daily with physical punishments atop. In many ways, their brutal trial to become an Astartes never truly ended, nor will it ever until they succumb to the conditions of living on a freezing battle barge or an Astartes master who cast them aside without remembering to control their strength on one particular day. For all who serve the Emperor,
straight bullies.
only in death does duty end.
Just straight bullies. Imperium mining the mining crew.
So
Oh,
next up,
man.
another straightforward one. It's likely fair to
Let's
say
get ready
that
for this
mining
depression.
throughout human history has been one of the most challenging and dangerous professions, and unsurprisingly in the 41st millennium, for humankind little has changed. Of course, for some planets in the Imperium, this means actual cities being built underground, such are the scale of the operations. This means that for many a lifetime will pass by without ever having seen the light of the surface again. The
What?
concept of day and night will no longer exist as they live in a permanent state of darkness.
Yo, they can't even come up for air? Yo, what about Christmas? But what about Thanksgiving? First of all, hopefully you guys have a great Thanksgiving, by the way. But what about Thanksgiving? What about... Oh, no. You know what, bro? Man, somebody gotta take me out, bro. Somebody gotta take me out, bro. There's no way. There's no way, bro. Somebody gotta take me out. I can't, bro. I can't, bro.
Safety
I
measures
can't.
will be variable at best, and again, like most things, it likely depends on the kind of overseeing governorship you're working under. For
Nope.
planets within realms like Ultramar, your chances of having basic equipment are going to be better than that of a backwater planet with a tyrannical governor who cares about quotas and coins. Imperial miners are condemned to a life underground, as any exposure to the outside world of the light will be detrimental to their vision. Their lives underground, even with respirators, will ensure they spend their earliest days breathing in air saturated with fine particles, leading to many respiratory illnesses and other complications in life, meaning high mortality
Bro.
rates in the populace.
Bro, they're breathing in, bro, they're legit breathing in like pennies, bro. They're breathing in like bronze air. Like they're breathing in dirt. Like, and they can't even see the sun for the one time. That's the thing that's crazy to me. They don't even know like what day it is. That's crazy. They don't even know like if it's day or night up there, bro. Bro, I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. I'm putting in my 2 week notice, bro. Just keeping it real.
Of course, that's even before you come to the possible dangers of cave-ins, other collapses, machinery malfunctions, and other.
I forgot about
explosions of
the
poorly stored materials.
cave-ins.
It's a very dangerous life, but like most human societies, the positives will be in the people. The sense of collective effort, worth, and community are what enable Imperial mining communities to function. Plus, of course, the ever-present overseers who exist at nearly all levels of industrial Imperial society. Slack in your work, negligent, you'll be facing punishment physically or prevented from working potentially permanently, which for many Imperials is effectively a death sentence by any other name.
Duh. Listen, we heard about this in the last episode. You mess up once, it's over for you. There's no, oh, well, you know, you're fired. You're fired from this company incorporation. No, you're going to be death incorporation. That's what you're going to be. You're going to be 6 feet deep incorporation. You're going to be human starch corporation. Yeah, the same starch they used in the last video that he told us about in the last video. That's what you're going to be. And I'm gonna be honest with you, if I was in this world, bro, I wouldn't mind that.
Plus, of course, there's always the enjoyable risk of tunneling into a cavern and disturbing a nest of ambuls. Ambuls, those heavily armoured insectoid creatures that have sharpened claws for digging through straight rock itself, plus of course enabling them to effortlessly impale and bisect any prey they track and come across.
We got Minecraft spiders down here too. Oh yeah, I'm out. Bro, is that a spider? What is that? I thought that was a spider at first, bro. What is that? Ooh. Man, that thing needs some proactive. They got all types of bumps on his arms. Man, when's the last time you washed your arms? Man, he haven't washed his arms since shirts were invented. Oh my goodness.
Are powerful monstrosities who have reached the peak of evolution through survival in the harshest of environments. Plus, for the workers of mining planets, they also have a taste that can't be beat. Delicious ambul.
Ooh, that look like turtle meat.
The extremely rare class of Titan, known as Psi-Titans, are a specialized and feared class of Titan used within the Imperium's Collegia Titanica, known as the Ordo Sinister. Their weapons are known as Sinistrum, a term given to designate weapons which will artificially amplify human psychic power, but potentially risk consuming the psyche themselves in the process. The Emperor had used such things during the Unification Wars with enslaved psyker covens, and of course now does so on a daily basis for himself. The key to a Psi-Titan is its so-called Syracrux anima, and this is the piece of technology that enables one of the worst jobs for a psyker to be assigned to. Although it's not far off serving as a battery for the Emperor, but at least in doing that there is some spiritual glory to be held, or at least those who serve the Emperor console themselves by telling this half-truth. Unlike a standard Titan, Psi-Titans contain psykers surgically locked into the machine itself. These psykers are believed to have been placed within these Titans either as punishment for crimes against the Imperium or at their own behest to allow them to become part of something more and help alleviate their own personal torments. Either way, they exist as psychic slaves to the will of the commander, who will use their powers and spirit focused through the Syracrux anima. The command princeps of a Psi-Titan is known as the Preceptor Indendent, and they will sit within the anti-Psi shielded headpiece of the Titan. It's unclear if this shielding was originally placed to protect ordinary princeps from piloting the Titan. If it were, it appears to have not been enough to withstand the psychic screaming of its implanted human batteries.
Oh my goodness.
And so, within a Psi-Titan, its commander is also a null or blank. And this is another reason as to why the Psi-Titans are astonishingly rare. Their pilots are required to be both a blank and simultaneously capable of commanding a Titan. Across the entire galaxy of the Imperium, candidates that meet this criteria are going to likely only range in the numbers of double digits. Regardless though, the role for the damned psykers surgically bound to the machine will live out truly horrifying ends. And it's why Psi-Titans are some of the most feared machines of war, because they literally are tearing the psyker's soul and spirit apart, then focusing this into psychic beams to form its weaponry. A Psi-Titan can project waves of abject fear, psychokinesis, biomantic leeching of life, and even temporal distortion, coming back to that time travel thing being confirmed in 40K.
Bro, this is scary, bro. I'm gonna be honest
with you. On top of this, it still has its so-called Sinistra Manus Tenebrae, its Psi-Cannon. This device allows it to focus the psychic antipathy of the psykers within to create a warp breach similar to a vortex weapon. Meanwhile, its psykers are burned and consumed from the inside out, not entirely dissimilarly to how, as I said, they're consumed by the Emperor. The principle is seemingly very similar.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'd rather go out like one of the psychers that's used up by the. Like, I'd rather go as like a psyker battery or whatever, or emperor battery, whatever. I'd rather go out as that. I can't lie to you. You know what? If my energy, if my nectar is being sucked up, just so I can go straight to the emperor. If I gotta jump into this lake of fire, and then my energy is being used for the emperor, I'm gonna be honest with you. It is what it is, bro. I'd rather be. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'd rather go out like that than go out like any of these jobs. Assignments, or sleeves.
And although the specifics of the technology are far beyond human comprehension, it seems logical that the apparatus of the Golden Throne Room and the focused distillation of psychic power from individual psykers into the form of a weapon must share some similarities. Psi-Titans and their weaponry can engage and fight for as long as those on board can power them. So unlike conventional weaponry, Psi-cannons can be fired repeatedly on and on until those on board are consumed and turned to literal ash. The psychic strength of the bound psyker on board of the Psi-Titan and the strength of their soul are its only limitations.
So there ain't no reload? It's just, it keeps going. Schola, Tempestus.
Now, the Immaterium Tempestus are yet another example of a curious worst job. Is it so harrowing to join an elite force within the Imperium? The answer is obviously yes. But as with most things, it also depends on your perspective, not dissimilarly to the role of chapter serfs. Tempestus soldiers are high-tier Militarum warriors, and those who serve within this elite force are indoctrinated in the Imperial creed from youth. Their only culture is that of loyalty to the empire of the Imperium and the Emperor, and demonstrate this by their unblinking immediacy in the execution of their duties. Many of them go on to higher roles amid the echelons of the Imperial factional hierarchy.
This one doesn't sound so bad. I'm gonna be honest with you. Even though they get started, as kids or whatever, this one doesn't sound so bad. I might become this.
So where's the worst part?
Yeah.
It sounds glorious and proud to serve the Emperor and the Imperium in one of the most well-equipped elite military human forces. Sure, from the inside of the Imperium, it certainly looks that way. But if we take the blinkers off and look, as we often do, at the cold reality of the Imperium as it stands in M41, the Tempestus are both harrowing and dystopian in their indoctrination of new recruits, certainly above that of the standard Militarum, which by comparison is a fairly standard military force. The Tempestus lean toward the extreme mindscaping of individuals, and it is not as much the Tempestus themselves, for they exist as something of a middle stage between early indoctrination and higher service. And it is this early process which shows us how the Imperium controls and breaks down its citizenry in service of the Emperor through rigid, brutal indoctrination from near birth, surrounded by a world and culture that refuses to accept any other view and actively destroys all others with extreme prejudice. So yes, being involved in that process is a worst thing. Imperial officers, sororitas, ecclesiarchy, even the Inquisition and assassins originate from what is known as the Schola progenium. These are specialist imperial schools that usually contain the children of imperial nobles or other high-ranking imperials that have died.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think I would do this. I would do this, bro. Even though this is depressing as well, I think out of all the jobs that I've heard in both episodes, I'll do this.
These are nearly always then orphaned children. They're known as the progenitor novum, and from their entry into the Schola until they are either rejected into lower service or passed for higher service, they will be mentally and physically conditioned to serve the Imperium from day one.
See, I'll
it's
do
less
it.
an education than it is
it.
an enforced role within the Imperium, and for most it will mean progression to Tempestus. So it is thus the job, if you will, of Tempestus that is the worst part. It is the inhuman degree of training in the Schola that is one part of why becoming a Tempestus is the worst position to serve.
Brother, that whole world is inhumane. This right here, the inhumane training, bro, I'll do it, bro. I'll do it. I'll do this, bro. This is legit the only job that I see that's like, it's bad, like, because obviously, like, you're a kid and you're training like with these unbelievable, like, expectations, and it's just brutal training or whatever as a kid or whatever. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'll do it. I'll do this, bro. This is the one that I would do.
Those who pass their trials of compliance and make it to selection day may be assigned to other specialist factions straight away, but for the majority of the Schola cadets are then enrolled within the Tempestus Scions. As with nearly all Imperial service, the training for high-tier military service is brutal, and as always, the death rate among recruits is high. This training will last for 3 standard years of whichever system timescale the recruits are operating within, and the positive for recruits is that if they're successful, they'll be issued with some of the very best weaponry, equipment and resources available to standard humans in the Imperial Militarum. Some may progress to officer ranks and others then into the service of, say, the sororitas, if they had not done so early directly from the Schola. There are in fact a multitude of ways a Tempestus may proceed to further service, so again, this is all sounding pretty positive, but as I noted, the Schola progenium is perhaps one of the most, if not the most, bleak and disturbing aspects of the Imperium. Its entire purpose is to strip away identity, to homogenize, break down and rebuild the orphan sons and daughters of the Imperial elite, to erase their culture, their family ties, their believed loyalties. Sometimes this is done quite literally with forcible mind wiping. It has even been speculated that on occasion a child which demonstrates...
Oh my god, bro. It's mind wiping, bro. Is this like their bread and butter? Is this like the move that they always use? Of course. You gotta mind wipe me, huh? Of course. I still do the job, though.
Qualities for enrollment may be taken while its parents are still alive. This is, of course, entirely standard and general Imperial behaviour, and likely occurs with little, if any, subtlety. Parental protest would only be dealt with efficiently by Imperial arbites or other ecclesiarchy enforcers. Age...
He said, you better shut up. Yeah, we're taking your kid. You better be quiet. You better be quiet before you get Swiss cheesed. You better be quiet. You better be quiet right now. Yeah, we're taking your little boy. Yeah. What you gonna do about it? You want to get Swiss cheese? Okay.
Is also not a determining factor for children who arrive at the Schola progenium. The only requirement is their ability to pass early physical mental assessments, because once again, whereas other areas of the Imperium draw humans from a wide spectrum of planets and systems with their own cultural backgrounds, sometimes language and other traits, the Schola seek the entirely opposite approach. They want to erase personal identity. It seeks pure conformity and reliability. It wants to only create single-minded servants.
Bro, they want a clean slate, bro.
And miss. They will always know instantly the action that is necessary to be taken and take that action almost instinctively. For the children arriving new to the Schola, all signs of their former lives will subsequently be erased. Belongings discarded and destroyed, individual clothing replaced with plain, identical uniforms, even their given birth names will be replaced with a selection from a long list of legendary Imperial heroes.
Hell no. Nope. Bro, you are not about to go on your computer, bro, and search up name generator and just randomize my name. No. No. I'm not about to wake up one day and be Dick Grayson. No. Nope. I'm keeping my name. I'm keeping my name. Nope. GG's. I can't lie to you. GG's.
Heroes. And this is to remind them of the highest ideals of excellence that they must aspire to. Of course, it's also undoubtedly to continue this reinforcement of identity erasure. New orphans at any Schola will be cast in the Imperial mould, and only the strongest will emerge without damage and remain intact once the fires have cooled. For now, the Schola is their reality. It is all they will know, all they need to know. Any unwarranted questioning or disobedience is, unsurprisingly, dealt with severely.
Yeah,
of
you'll
course,
die.
For the younger recruits, usually under the age of 6, this change is easier and...
Under the age of whom?
More permanent. The conditions
yo, I can't pause anymore, y'all.
Readily adopted.
Bro, oh my god, I know the video is dumb long right now,
to remember with clarity when their days are spent, even at such a young age, doing intense mental.
I just gotta mute it and talk, y'all.
Learning.
I can't pause it. It's gonna be a really long video, y'all.
The entire training process is one of the worst. Is for that of the older recruits. For those who have spent longer in their home culture, who have known their parents and formed close familial bonds, these things are harder to break down with mere repetition of studies and physical discipline. Humans are very capable of bearing emotions and memory deep inside, and so for most older recruits, they require additional mindscaping to ensure absolute and undeniable commitment to the Imperium, the Schola, Tempestus, and any higher service.
Because it's
Even
it's
as
a
the
lot of memory,
recruits
bro. Of course they
sleep,
gotta do like
servo
multiple,
skulls
like, you
will
know,
continually
sessions.
pass over them, scanning and assessing their eyes for any signs of suspicious dream behavior, which if detected will result in them being dragged into chambers for punishment vigils.
They
both
can't even
mental
have
and
dreams?
physical. Then even for those who do sleep, they'll be subjected to continual subliminal reconditioning. And this is where one of the most harrowing practices will be enforced upon recruits. For those troublemakers, those who never really find their groove, their rhythm to get into life within the Schola, they'll be strapped into a chair known as the correction throne. Heads, arms and legs all strapped in place as tiny needles are inserted to the back of the skull. Their mind is then flooded with neurochemicals that wash through their brains and erase long-term memory. All the while floating servo skulls recanting litanies, screeching war cries for the ecclesiarchy. Such processes are only semi-effective, at best though. In fact, many Schola who progress to the Tempestus and beyond will still retain troubling dreams of their discovery amid blood-soaked marble floors during some planetary rebellion. For others far worse, they may have visions of being torn from living parents as Imperial forces permanently silence them.
Goodness.
Yet all of this is still not the worst part of being trained within a Schola for the role of Tempestus.
Oh, by the way, did I mention? Oh, I don't want to be a part of this. Did I mention that? Okay, I tried to. Yeah, I don't.
Scion. One of the ways
My
in which
mic's
the
still on?
Imperium seeks to break down
It
individuals
is.
to become unquestioning servants for the Emperor is in pitting them against one another. This
Uh-oh.
often occurs during Astartes training and the likes of the Inquisition and the Assassinorum. It's the same within the Schola. Often while still in their early teens, those who continue to demonstrate a failure of memory erasure, or for those who continue to rebel, fight against the erasure of their identity, will likely be allowed to attempt to escape the confines of the Schola. They'll be given an opportunity. Most of these cadets will not miss it, and thus attempt escape. However, this is merely another test, a test for them to see if they would in fact flee, which they nearly always do, and then a test for their fellow recruits in the Schola who are turned out to hunt down and eliminate their rebelling
This
nobles.
is all a game to them,
If this were
bro.
not the worst end, any of those who may not choose to run but merely continue to buck against authority, or who continue to show too much free thinking, spirit, attitude, and in general disrespect to their tutors and instructors, will suffer without warning the massive hammer of the drill abbot. These are members of the ecclesiarchy who are instructors within the Schola and will quite simply bludgeon the troublemaker to a quivering pile of flesh in front of their fellow students. Then subsequently whatever remains of their spinal column is extracted and placed on display within their dormitory to remind those of what awaits any who resist.
You're an example. You're an example now. There ain't no more attitude. There ain't no more, oh, I don't want to do it. There's no more of none of that. I'm not even laughing of what he's doing. Bro, he gave that student he gave him the Thor hammer. You're an example to them now. You are an example. That man said, you know what? I already crushed him with the Thor hammer. Let me see real quick. Let me get your kidneys real quick. Let me get that out of here. Hey, yo, somebody come wash his kidneys off. Yeah. Come wash this off real quick. They wash your kidneys off, whatever. He bring them back, put it in his hand all gently and nice or whatever, or he's dead too. He gets him, he's like, all right, y'all just seen what I just did to him. These are his kidneys. If any of you guys, this is your kidney, by the way. He's pointing at people with your kidney. If any of you guys want to do something about what I just did, I dare you to step up right now. Everybody is quieted as a mouse. You can hear a hair follicle drop on the ground. Bro, you can hear ants whisper, bro. You can hear dogs gossip in the other room, bro. Like, bro, that's how quiet it is. So at the end of the day, bro, you're gonna be an example. This is probably my last pause. I said pause. My last pause because the video's already long enough. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Upon one world, due to an apparent faulty batch of mindscaping chemicals, a whole year group of recruits rebelled, and the enraged Abbot Prime ordered the Officio Prefectus to crush the rebellion. So, whilst still alive, the mutinous cadets were meshed with mortar and used to line the Schola's ferrocrete walls. To this day, their bones jut out of long corridors, grasping for freedom as a warning to all new recruits, the consequences of insubordination. Testing of recruits will continue endlessly right through to their graduation, and then when finally they become a Tempestus, the training continues. Many of these become progressively more severe, up to a point at which a cadet may be in fact ordered to execute a friend who they have trained alongside for many years. Anything other than immediate and emotionless obedience will likely result in their own death. But this is the horrifying example of what the Imperium does to its own citizens.
Yeah, kill your friend.
The rationalization for this is that soon these recruits will have to face the true horrors of the galaxy, and that such acts serve to both prove their obedience and discipline of cadets and the effectiveness of their training, while simultaneously demonstrating both an ability to make difficult, essential decisions in the heat of combat.
He basically just said, you gotta
More importantly,
such
tests
right here. It's either
are
you
designed
or
to
us,
ensure that
and
recruits
any
are
hesitation,
beholden to the
you're
Imperium
donezo.
and do not harbour any other loyalties, as well as wheedling out those who could likely
That's
not
crazy.
follow such an order. These are considered dangerous individuals to the Imperium. And this is the true horror of the Imperium. It's in its ability to turn an innocent human being into an organic robot devoid of emotion and choice, to forge through brutality, fear and indoctrination a person into becoming a being capable of being ordered to murder a friend and then do so without even flinching, without remorse, pity or any emotion. Being trained for service in the Tempestus via the Schola progenium is one of the worst positions to find yourself in within the Imperium, because they will brutally erase not only your identity but also your humanity. Is it indeed any wonder then that all who exit the other side are capable of acts like enacting exterminatus, the trials to become an Imperial assassin, or the completely religious radicals of the sororitas?
Yeah, be heartless, bro. Wow, man. Imperial Navy, indentured. Ooh, how do you say that? Indentured. Ooh, hold up.
The role of naval bondsman came up as a suggestion many times, so I felt compelled to talk about it in this video. However, it is relatively simple in its explanation compared to so many others. For not every crappy endpoint of Imperial life requires vast exposition. Sometimes it's a shit job, and that's the bottom line. No explanation necessary. For any, though, who are unaware, some aspects of the Imperial Navy in M41 are highly comparable to the naval forces of ancient Earth, because while there are some who choose to serve, there are many more who would wish to avoid service aboard, say, naval vessels for the Imperium. Yet the vast masses of workers aboard Imperial vessels are entirely necessary. And unsurprisingly, Imperial ships are not beautifully advanced starships with cozy quarters. They're claustrophobic, often cold, undesirable places, especially during warp travel. Life for these workers is, like so many of the worst roles, harsh, unforgiving, short-lived, and completely alien to so many ordinary humans. These are the so-called indentured workers, having been press-ganged from any number of Imperial worlds, feudal, hive, industrial, penal, and so forth. If serving the Imperial Guard meant never seeing your family or home again, it at least meant you'd be getting something of a positive send-off. Serving in the Imperial Navy for many means being dragged off in darkness to no sound other than yourself being bludgeoned unconscious. Of course, the Imperial Navy does not rely singularly on such activities for its...
We can't listen to that new Drake? We can't listen to that... Yo, who just dropped an album? We can't listen to that new album? Like, what? While we're on the way to die? We can't listen to, like, the new songs? Like, we can't listen to that... What's that one? Please, please, please. We can't listen to that new Sabrina Carpenter? We can't listen to... Yo, what happened? We gotta stand in silence? Unrighteousness? What?
It also has plenty of regular signed-up voidsmen. But because the indentured crew who live down below and primarily are occupied with heavy, dirty, dangerous occupations and fed meager rations, often death can be a steady force of attrition.
They can't even give us a full meal?
They also need to bolster their numbers of bondsmen. perhaps as a result of active conflicts or equally just natural wastage. Commonly, this will mean a few days spent gathering maybe 1,000 citizens from hive worlds that it's fair to say no one will likely miss, or depending on the fleet in the world, it could be tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands. And dependent on the hive world, again, you might not actually miss those people. I would speculate myself that it seems reasonable ships may even communicate ahead to hive worlds to enable law enforcement to round up undesirables and prepare them for transport to the ships. Many of those who are dragged off in the night or arrested for their crimes will be placed into some kind of mass stasis, and by the time they awaken, they will be already in the dark void of space. Their only alternative option at this point is death at the hands of armsmen. These are essentially the enforcers of naval ships. Like a significant degree of Imperial production, the Imperial Navy uses a surprising quantity of quite literal manpower to operate its machinery, and Imperial ships are bizarrely no exception. This is of course another one of those situations where 40k drifts into the realm of the truly bonkers, but you all wanted to know this stuff. So aboard ships of the Imperium,
I did it, sir.
Which you see as those gigantic main cannon of Imperial starships located all along the sides of the ship, are loaded and fired through nearly entirely manual labour, which is mad. First, the breach must be opened by the crew pulling on massive pinions or chains, while a second crew readies a massive shell to be loaded. Once the breach is open, any spent casings are extracted and the interior of the breach cleaned by the third crew. Engineers additionally inspect for damage or impurity. Now a second crew then loads the truly gargantuan shell into the breach and immediately clear the way as the first crew come back in with a colossal manual effort in closing the breach. Once the breach is closed and secured, the crews are ordered to assume their set stand-down positions as the gun is ready to fire and the loading cycle starts over. Life expectancy, unsurprisingly for macro cannon gun crews, can be even as short as weeks, because the sheer effort required, involved and enforced, the conditions and rations are all so severe they're literally worked to death, not to mention those who are crushed or lose limbs through inevitable poor timings and judgment.
Did you say weeks?
Life within the ships is bad enough though that without such hazardous activities, their days will be spent across a spectrum of endless, back-breaking tasks regardless. Cleaning, transporting, loading of materials and resources, resupplying various components and machinery, crawling through ducts and ports in the belly of the ship to clean and ensure they remain operational, and likely along the way finding other dead indentured workers who perhaps weeks ago collapsed under the strain of the physical stress, temperature or just otherwise exhaustion. Often walkways and paths also throughout.
Last pause of the video. So basically, bro, if you're in prison and you're in this Imperium world, bro, you're donezo. I can't lie to you. It might be over for you. Man, it might be over for you. You're automatically, bro, it's like the draft. You're automatically enlisted. Man, once you hit those prison doors, you're not about to serve your sentence. You're just about to die. They're about to serve you up. Put you on those ships and it's GG's. I can't lie to you.
The ship feature no safety measures of any kind. It's all too easy to slip on a patch of oil and grease and fall hundreds of meters to your spine-breaking death below as you land on some metal acute surface. The near continual wastage of the lowest crew members aboard the ship will likely not even register for the captain and senior officers of the naval ship. These matters are taken care of below decks. They were never even considered to concern themselves with those individuals, if you could call them such, because similarly to tech thralls, they barely rank above servitors and therefore barely are any kind of consideration for senior ranking officers in the Imperium. If anything, the indentured workers aboard starships should count themselves lucky they have an opportunity to serve the Imperium, and perhaps in death they'll be forgiven for past sins. Whereas if they were not doing so, then likely right now they would in fact be being processed.
No, they wouldn't.
Of corpse
they are not going to
get
get forgiven, bro. Not in that world.
Step out of line. They can always be found a place in the refueling section of starships, and we all know what fate awaits those damned souls. Again, I think last time some people missed the point about the starship refuelers and the fact that they were forced into horrifying disintegration while hauling the extremely hazardous material.
Yep,
Many people
GG's.
thought that this was inefficient, stupid. Why not use robots or some kind of other belt system to transport this in? Again, kind of missing the point. These were punishments they had been forced into. And were they not
They're supposed to
already
die.
tech thralls,
Literally.
they likely would have had some means to ensure the process took place. It's hardly inefficient if the individuals concerned were already condemned. There's plenty more where they came from after all, which should be near enough the motto of the Imperium, to be honest. Because while such an activity seems absurd on face value, it seems horrifying and an offence to the dignity of humanity, that all fits the Imperium like a glove. Work aboard Imperial starships is riddled with dangers, it's filthy, unrelenting, and will literally pull apart the bodies of workers under the strains they must exhibit. Many a worker's arms have been quite literally dislocated or worse by the strain of positioning and reloading macrocannons. Many others will just simply lose their minds while travelling in the warp, despite the very necessary protections offered for vessels of the void. There is something entirely troublesome about space travel. All feel it, even those who are resilient to such things, like those born in the darkness of space, because this darkness is always seeking somehow, somewhere, to creep into the human mind, and it finds this to always be easiest among the weak-willed, the disaffected, the resentful. So if you ever find yourself dragged off into darkness and awaken aboard an Imperial naval vessel, it's worth remembering that in the void of M41, no one cares if you scream.
That was actually scary. I can't lie to you. The way he ended it off, that was actually pretty scary.
Now,
Jesus
this
Christ.
was a job role which I think undoubtedly exists in 40k, but essentially for obvious reasons there is little if any actual description of it. So I want to note that this is a job role that we should regard as being speculative in the Imperium. I think given the nature that we know of the Imperium, they do not in any way shy away from using humans in place of machinery for basic tasks, and for whatever reason, so many people wanted to see this as a listed worst job, so it felt fine to include it here. But in terms of an industrial, chemical, toxic waste sewage worker, what can you really say? What can we ourselves speculatively imagine about such a role? Well, like I said, it does stand to reason that on some hive worlds, if not many hive worlds, many industrial worlds, or even industrial sectors of hive worlds and so on, there will be those poor souls left to a life of breathing extremely toxic materials.
This is a nuclear sewer.
Processes on a daily basis, and generally unpleasant tasks, having vastly shortened, painful lives as a result.
Yeah, GG's.
This
yeah,
is
it's done.
very much the matter of course for life in the Imperium. And certainly, of course, being nothing of note for any Imperial overseers who will barely notice such matters. Similarly, for those tasked with crawling down into the depths of hive cities, crawling through tiny vented sections, perhaps slipping to be then chewed up through some gigantic cog machinery, or the inevitable loss of peripheral limbs, fingers, and so forth. But for many people who wanted to see this listed as a worst job, it seems that the simple thought of having to process sewage, waste material from hive cities, which is obviously vast in quantity, is the most unpleasant thing. And I think for obvious natural reasons,
I can do this. I can definitely do this.
Need for maintenance workers in hive cities to carry out such tasks. It's well noted that many hive cities exist on worlds which suffered total ecological collapse long ago, and so they no longer pay any note to environmental effects of waste. Commonly, hive worlds see the vast majority of the surface of a planet being completely uninhabitable, and instead they are these bizarre, toxic wasteland worlds with no flora or fauna to speak of. So any waste materials from hive cities are simply pumped out, leading to some having oceans of toxic materials or vast deserts. As I have noted previously, hive cities are sometimes wrongly referred to as arcologies, because they are not. An arcology is literally a marriage of the words architecture and ecology. It means a designed space for high-density habitation with a low impact on the environment and world around it. Hive cities are near the opposite of this. They have massive impact on planetary environments, or that the environment which does exist has been punished for so long that hive cities' impact is now effectively irrelevant, and their design is usually at least partially organic in nature, only in the sense that it evolved as needs demanded, not literally organic. Essentially saying it wasn't built by a careful, planned, entire design vision. So the point being, while people may gravitate to imagining how awful it would be to work in the quite literal bowels of a hive city, wading neck deep through waste to shut off valves that risked flooding entire sectors with toxic pollutants, or cleaning venting ports and sewage valves to ensure the hazardous wastes of a hive are efficiently pumped out into the waste and beyond, in actuality there are a significant amount of hive citizens who exist already in such surroundings, and below in the underhive, likely thousands if not millions of people in very contaminated situations. So their specific jobs may not tie them directly to a life of being surrounded by the waste of a billion humans, but many hive citizens still do so regardless. So the idea of an Imperial sewage worker is pretty awful, of course. Unlike those working in waste management of our modern world, for the Imperium it's more akin to the early and even late 19th century, where many homes did not have water transport.
Compared to like all the other jobs, I think this is the one that I would definitely work for. Because all the other ones like are just pure death and stuff like that. But I'm gonna be honest with you, like this could be death as well, because like you're inhaling like toxic fumes and stuff like that. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I can definitely do this. I think I can definitely do this.
Is very obviously a task most people would want to avoid, and so it's pretty natural many people would say that would be terrible to do in the 40k verse, because it's like being a normal sewage worker, but like everything else in 40k, turned up to 11, due to it being this mad dystopian parody of just how horrific things can get when the darkness of the human spirit is allowed to just
I think I'll still do it. Even though it's in Warhammer, I'll still do it. I can't lie to you.
Would be for just the person doing that job, you're still not thinking bleak enough for the 40k verse. As I just did and have often noted, Imperial citizens experience a life that is something in between feudal peasantry and early 19th century industrialization in M41 generally. So quite honestly, as awful as the thought of toxic sewage is, you really want to be thinking more about the horror of those workers in the 41st millennium who are working in the equivalent of scaled up chemical processing of the 1800s. Early human industrial civilizations were producing products with little to any understanding of the effects on humans, or if they did, it was certainly not anything that they were going to be concerned about. Acids, alloys, asbestos, cement, caustic soda, chlorine, copper, leather processing, lime, organic chemicals, phosphate fertilizers, many more things. Even power, like gasworks of the 19th century, were commonly documented as having a devastating impact on local communities and their environments, directly dumping toxic waste materials as well as saturating the air around them. One such community in London was eventually titled the Devil's Acre and had gone from being a previously affluent community to a slum district, so poisoned that plants no longer would grow in the houses surrounding it. We can imagine that life is very similar for Imperial citizens working in such conditions, a permanent metallic taste in the mouth from toxic substances saturating what qualifies as breathable air, odours that cut to the back of the throat worse than any rotting putrid carcasses, and the worst potentially burning skin and soft tissues. Then there would be other ongoing health issues such as silicosis caused by inhaling large amounts of crystalline silica dust found in stone, rock, minerals, etc. like the miners. Over many years, this could lead to lung scarring and damage. Workers could face any number of other conditions, simple toxic poisoning, organ failure, and as I noted earlier, any other number of invasive diseases and chronic conditions that build up maybe over many years or acutely, eventually leaving you wasted and unable to remain
like I said in the last
productive.
video.
However,
Your
contaminated
lungs will be as black as me, I promise you.
A prime candidate for recycling.
Corpse Guild.
So lastly, we come to another unfavorable role, and that
Last
is the
one,
workers
y'all.
of
Last
hive
one.
cities' so-called corpse guilds, producing those questionably desired but strangely addictive starch cubes which form a dietary supplement for billions of hive citizens. Now I think it should be clear, this is very obviously one of those sideways joke references that exist everywhere in 40k, and it is no mystery that corpse starch for the Imperium is effectively Soylent Green. Now, sorry spoilers if you've waited until 2021 to watch a classic piece of early 70s science fiction, and I want to talk about that movie more in the Apocalypse series because despite it being regarded with comedic overtones, largely due I think to the ridiculous trailer which came with the movie, and the fact that Soylent Green appears throughout popular culture since, it is in actual fact a movie which deals with quite a bleak and dark dystopian future, which was very typical of early 70s science fiction, but sadly later was replaced by the likes of Star Wars, which ensured that the vast majority of the genre which followed would lean more in the direction of blasty lasers and less of that post-20th century dystopian social commentary. So it's very clear where corpse starch takes its cues from though, given that on Necromunda it's even known as Soylent Viridian, a subtle reference just keeping it nice and legal. The production of this falls upon the Mercantor Palladus or Corpse Guild. While hive cities across the Imperium may operate under any number of different systems, a common one is that of the guild structure, whereby each guild effectively controls a specific task, profession or infrastructure. Now while it is a very undesirable task, something that is commonly forgotten when discussing the vast amounts of humans within any hive city, remembering these commonly number in the billions, is the fact that many hundreds of thousands, if not even millions, of human citizens are born and die on a weekly basis. And there is a logistical problem of collecting and processing those who perish. It is quite obviously a task which is legion.
Yesterday when he was talking about like the human starts and stuff like that, kind of what he's talking about right now. Bro, like, it's crazy that, like, billions, like, bro, that so many people die, bro, every single day in, like, the Imperium world or whatever, bro, that, bro, like, it's crazy, bro, they gotta use like, it's so many people that they run out of food resources, so they gotta use the humans as, like, a add-on for the food.
The scale. Also, considering as we just discussed the toxic environment of many lower sections of a hive city, I always seem to come back to the 19th century and how it's comparable for Imperial citizens, and so it's reasonable for us to assume that within hive cities, child mortality could often be anything like 300 within 1,000 births, within areas subjected to such heavy toxification and pollution. But without those citizens who operate in the Corpse Guild, things could be much worse. The nightmare of body disposal would merely be replaced by the nightmare of widespread disease and contamination, even more than usual. So life for a member of the Corpse Guild is far from a desirable role, no matter though its importance. They will collect daily thousands of corpses within their designated sectors and transport them to be piled high within mortuary caverns, which are then steadily rendered down into the grinding machines, aptly named as corpse grinders.
Put them in a grinder. Oh my goodness.
The superstitious and naturally short lives of Imperial citizens mean that those within the Corpse Guild are regarded fearfully by many who will lock up their meagre dwellings, leaving the dead neatly stacked outside for collection. Forget of course the fact that without the Corpse Guild, large numbers of the citizenry would quickly starve without the rendered down nutrient blocks distributed to the populace. Perhaps most interestingly, underhive gangs may even ally with certain guilds in exchange of course for appropriate compensation. They will form so-called corpse harvesting parties, because while the dead are processed to ensure the survival of the living, recycled meat is also noted as being vital to the survival of many hive
Oh
worlds.
my goodness!
So-called corpse prospectors will source materials for the corpse grinders, seeking out veins of
First made me
meat,
want to throw up.
and
I
like
can't
so
lie to
many
you.
of the undesirable denizens down below, they
Oh my
adorn
goodness.
themselves with decoration of individuals who live lives which wallow in the slaughter of others. Horrifying masks, inscribed rebreathers, and a whole tool belt of ancient surgical tools to quickly check on the value of their secured meat material and if it's worth disposing of or hauling back for processing. Now, while this might sound as if they're out for the daily human hunt, it's not quite that brutal, although I think it would be fair to speculate that this also happens. Instead, these bone scriveners may be seen scouring through the aftermath of battles, raking over the dead for their raw material worth. And then this, of course, is where the corpse grinder cults come in. While primarily identified as operating within the hive city of Necromunda, it's more than likely that cults of similar identification exist throughout the Imperium. The corpse grinders exist out of necessity more than desire for their horrific activities, or at least, at first, their very existence now likely attracts those who desire the sanctioned activity of such horrors, and the nobility might prefer to refer to them as recyclers. The very role of working within a corpse guild sometimes leads to the expansion of so-called corpse grinders, because corpse guilds must always maintain their quotas. So for those existing within the darkness of such activities, those mandated to carry out corpse collection and acquisition of the raw materials for corpse starch, there are those who steadily will lose their grip on reality, perhaps to no surprise, into the waiting arms of the dark gods who thirst for blood and suffering. It wouldn't be fair to say that the officially sanctioned corpse guilds are anything comparable to these corpse grinder cults, where one acts out of necessity to efficiently process the dead. The cults seek fresh meat to redistribute among its followers, or use it as a means of a specialty mystery meat to tempt others who they might bring into following them. What does seem apparent is that the line between officially sanctioned necessary disposal to ensure survival of the hive and wildly heretical human hunts seems to be a very uncomfortably thin line. When the corpse grinders of the corpse guilds push the boundaries of what is acceptable in fulfilling quotas for the guild, it's a slippery slope to butchery and worship of bloodthirsty warp gods. And so I surely feel obliged to say, is this starting to feel like sanctioned heresy enough yet?
Outro: The Imperial Heart of Darkness.
Picking through the roles of civilian life of the Imperium remains one of the most interesting aspects that exists in the 40k.
Alright, here we go, y'all.
verse.
Last 5.
Last time I talked about worst jobs was quite some time ago, and I said that we needed to see many more slices of civilian life back then. And this has started to occur a little. Black Library has been turning out many of its new 40k crime novels of late, and most of these focus more on the civilian side of things and less on the massive space battles against Xenos. So it is worth checking these out if you are unaware, because I personally have enjoyed all. When it comes to the Imperium, it's a strange place to even define what would be classed as a job, because many roles are far from what we would consider this to be.
Brother, like I said before, I gotta make sure my mic is on. There's no jobs. There is no job. Everything that you named, literally every single thing that you named, that's not a job. It's a requirement. It's an assignment. It's not none of these are jobs. None of them. None. All of these legit are, they're life and death. There is no job. There is no payment. There is no you're getting paid on Wednesday because you got the chime card. No, there's life or death. That's it is what it is.
They're more assigned positions in society based largely on your status and background, not entirely unlike feudal societies of the past. As a citizen, you learn the trade your family knows, because the idea of rising above that is so minimal as to be barely even worth considering. Still, it was fun to return to this topic, as it's always mad to really delve into the bleakness of the Imperium, and the inclusion of the Schola and Tempestus I think is especially important, because often I see people saying how workers wouldn't stand for that, they wouldn't stand for the conditions in the Imperium, blah blah blah. Yes, we've often seen as well rebellions in the Imperium, and we see how that goes. They occur all the time. Yet 99% of the time they are crushed and horribly unsuccessful.
Duh.
As I have noted all too often.
Duh.
The problem with rebellions in the Imperium is that they are as quickly crushed as they rise, and often so brutally that it in fact stabilizes a system for at least generations. This is precisely why the Imperium continues to turn out these brainwashed, mind-wiped, zealous followers of the Imperial cult. Those serving the Imperium are not merely individuals who thought, you know what, this is the best way forward, although there are plenty of those to be sure. Any, though, existing at these higher positions other than drone plebs will be completely indoctrinated into the Imperial way. They are not merely people who just follow orders because it seems to be the right thing to do. No, it goes way beyond that. They are more akin to something like Kaiser Soze. He kills his own family in front of their captors just to prove his willpower.
Wait a minute, who? Yo, give me a video. Give me that video. Give me that video of that guy that he did what to his family just to prove to who? Yo, is anybody, yo. If you know a video, send it to me. Yo, put it in the comments down below. Yo, what?
That's the kind of people you're talking about who exist in the Imperium in positions of power. And so in realizing that, it will help you then to understand that even when rebellions or pushback happen toward the Imperium of Man, it can only go so far before they come up against this impenetrable wall of indoctrination, and at that point it goes no further. And it's this that is the nightmare of the Imperium. It's not what they are facing out in the galaxy, it's what they are facing within themselves. It's what makes 40k so captivating, only in as much as you marvel at the dystopian horror, the dark comedy of it being so truly insane. It's what sets the world apart from nearly all other verses as well. For the Imperium, there's no forward progress, no constructive thinking, no tolerance of any kind. It's a miserable, stagnating, horrifying, rotting empire that has largely created many of its own problems and exacerbated many more, and in trying to solve them, continues to make things worse and worse and worse. The Imperium of humanity in the 41st millennium is truly akin to the Heart of Darkness, Apocalypse Now, but on a galactic scale. The undeniable horror of the human condition, the darkness in the human heart, fully unleashed. So until next time, if you have further next jobs or want to tell me which worst or best thing I should do next, please tell me below. We're only part way through so many different topics at this point, so I have a lot of options where we go from here. But as always, I finish saying thanks for watching, thanks for your support, and I'll see you in the next one.
Hey, listen. Let me tell you something. First of all, bro, Lutium, I think that's your name, man. Shout out to you, man, for putting these together, man. Listen, the reason, and for you guys to say, oh, well, you know, you just watched like half of the video, bro. This video was dumb long. I tried to pause it as much as I can, but at the same time, I don't want to keep pausing it so I can give you guys like a full like Fast and Furious movie. So I think I did what I can in like, you know, still like, you know, trying to give you guys like my takes and stuff like that. I just didn't want to keep pausing and keep pausing and keep pausing and keep pausing it. I know I did that the first 30 minutes. My bad. I'm sorry about that. But man, bro, out of all these jobs, I mean, I'd rather work on like the cornstarch, on like the human starch thing. I'd rather work on that. Everything else can legit go to hell. I'm not working on nothing else. Bro, it's legit crazy on how these are labeled jobs, brother. These are assignments, brother. This is life or death. If you don't complete your stuff, it's GG's. I don't know how long this video is. It felt like I sat here for like probably like an hour and a half. But man, hopefully you guys enjoyed this, man. I'm gonna be honest with you, I definitely enjoyed it. It's depressing as always. It is what it is. It's fine. You know, listen, when you walk into this field of work, you know, you gotta accept it. You gotta accept it, man. Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you guys did enjoy my reaction to this, I'm gonna leave I think his name is Luton. I'm gonna leave his channel in the description down below. Make sure you guys go check him out, and I will see you guys later for next one I'm out. By the way, before I leave, I think we got Indiana Jones, The Great Circle. I think that's gonna drop early December, so we got that. We got the Game Awards coming through on the 12th. So just running you guys down on the schedule because obviously November's ending. So we're in the last month, May and December. We got to finish off strong. You know, I'm excited for the Game Awards. Excited for Indiana Jones. I'm more excited for the Game Awards. I can't lie to you. I really want a GTA 6 announcement, like a trailer to it, whatever. I don't know. I have a feeling that we might get a you know, a second trailer in December. You never know. But I'm in off this video. I've been talking long enough. You know, and I think I cleaned it up in like the second half of the video. But again, make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel if you guys did enjoy. I will see you guys next time out, and peace out.